pieces of the sigil, and every time you do it, it cleaned out your sigil and you had to farm them all over again. It was incredibly obnoxious. One of excuse me, one of the amazing quality of life changes that they've kind of been going through a bit at a time with DDO is that there used to be ridiculous grinding mechanics to just particularly to get into raids, and now they're just not doing that anymore. You flag it once and you're kind of done forever, which is amazing because some of them are pretty obnoxious. Like this one, even if you want to run the Abbot raid now, it's pretty horrific. What'll happen is you'll have to go in. You would have to take all these quests here. So you run all 4 of these quests, and then you talk to this guy, and you have to hand in a sigil. But before, you used to have pieces that you acquired from each quest, and each quest had 2 pieces, and you needed 8 of them to complete a sigil. And then when you did it, he took all those pieces, and you would have to fill it up again. Needless to say, that was tough, because then after you've done all that, then you would have to come in here and fight 4 bosses, but you could only choose to fight 1 boss per run, so you'd have to run this a minimum of 4 times to make that happen. And it was just this outrageous grind to make happen. So as you can likely imagine, this raid got run very, very infrequently, even though this item, the Quiver of Alacrity, drops in here, and it's amazing, and people were just like, yeah, you know what, not worth it. And people like myself went and simply did this and got 3 Tiefling Scoundrel Past Lives because it was just simply faster. So again, removing grind from the game has been, they haven't done all of it, but they certainly have done a lot to alleviate it, which is great. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Man, why is there no noise? That's just going to be irksome. And I don't want to stop the stream right now to figure out why that's happening. But suffice to say, chat, if you're not hearing anything, that's what's going on. As you can see, I am level 17 now, and I have my sexy 6th level Alchemist, and I am currently using the gold skin, which gives me 30 soaking damage reduction, which is pretty bloody amazing. So I am here for that all day, every day. There's another guy hiding in here somewhere. There he is. And once you kill all these guys, barrier comes down, and off we go. As you can also see, I went ahead and picked up the enhancement. Oops. Picked up the enhancement out of the apothecary tree. Where's the grabber? There it is. That allows me to be immune to magic missiles. The Verdant reaction doesn't mean anything to me. I'm never running in Verdant reaction, but you know, it's the principle of the thing, right? So I'll come over here, and you shoot the quell, because they're really obnoxious. Come on. There we go. And then the idea is that you run through all of these. I, of course, am not going to do any of that. I am just going to go ahead and skip right to running through it. Again, the idea is that you hit the target lever, and then it you like kind of run through as a bit, but we're just not going to do that. But if you want to see how that works, chat, because I'm such a swell guy, what will happen here, you can actually pull it, and it shows you that some of them are open and some of them are not. You can't disarm this trap, so you have to kind of just go through it. In any event, we're moving on. Now down this hallway, there's be a bunch of guys, and the shadow comes up out of nowhere, and you shoot him in the face, and you shoot that guy. Now this comes down, and what happens is we're going to be in here, and Kaitang Faruza is going to be over there, and all these guys are going to jump us. So first order of business, did I remember to death ward myself? I did. Okay, so we're going to go in here. It's kind of going to be a bad time. He is a Blackbone, which means that he is going to be immune to ice and fire. And so to avoid having a spectacularly bad time, what we're going to do is we're going to do that. We're going to do this. Do a bit of a poison spray. We're going to shoot this guy in the face. And then we're just going to hang out here and pump him full of lead. Now, I am going to go ahead and just simply burn one of my no holds bards because he is doing constitution damage to me the entire time. And if I do not get him killed, I will become helpless. All right. As you can see, I've got a few stacks of armor destruction up here as well. So that went relatively smoothly, so we're just going to go ahead and keep moving. And look at this. It's a Reaper. What are the odds of this guy being here? Anyway, I hate them so much, chat. I just do. We all need to get past that point that I'm never going to be happy when I see a Reaper. It's actually one of the reasons why I run it at low skulls. Other than the fact I'm intensely lazy, is that I don't have to run into it. There are much bigger, uglier, nastier Reapers as you go up in skulls, and it's just not worth dealing with. It's why a lot of times you see this huge number of groups, and it always seems to be R4. It's because at R5 you start to get the extra nasty Reapers, whereas up to R4 you just have the 4 basic ones that first started when they released Reaper mode. And that gets you kind of the best sort of balance between difficulty in running the content and the number of Reaper points. And basically what you're looking for as a rule of thumb is that your skulls are going to be your Reaper points divided by 10. So if you have like 1 to 10, you should like be running Reaper 1. And if you have 20, then you run Reaper 2 and so on. And eventually you can get all the way up to Reaper 10. But a lot of people don't even bother with that because Reaper experience actually is affected by experience potions. So if you buy experience potions from the store or whatever, that Strim Tom is a big advocate of that stuff. If you do that, that means that you can get an additional plus 50% or so or whatever experience for those Reaper quests. So a lot of people just do that because again that is getting them as much experience as if they were running it on R10 with a fraction of the grief. Plus they're getting a lot more regular experience, which just makes the whole thing faster. I believe he said he ran out like to maximum Reaper points in like 9 or 10 lives, which sounds like a lot, but is really not much at all. Just running R4s like that. So, and also you get significantly more if you run Reaper quests at endgame. So if you're running Legendary Reaper, you get a lot more experience, Reaper experience, like double, I believe, for running quests then. And that's what a lot of people do is they just kind of race through the game. There's a lot of groups you'll see for people that are running explorer areas, again, with potions, right? So you get a Greater Slayer potion that gives you like 3 kills for every 1 you make, and then you drink an experience potion, and all of a sudden you can max out the Slayers in an area for huge amounts of experience with very little grief. And so people will do that. So that's why you see the farming quest for Grim Disturbance or Orchard Slayers or whatever. And you're like, why would anybody do that? It's slow and crappy, but it isn't. If you start using potions, all of a sudden that becomes a very efficient use of your time. And that's really what it's all about, because even the hardcore players like Strim or Voodoo Spice or whatever, they'll tell you straight up that they're not spending all kinds of time in epic questing. They're just enough, a few hours in Slayers just to get to level 29 and equip their legendary gear, and then they're running their legendary quests. Because really it's about that equipment. It's got the difference between a level 29 character and a level 30 character is almost non-existent, but the gear is what's truly important, because without that gear you're really behind the curve. I know this because I was running some of the endgame raids, Killing Time. What the heck was the other one? Oh, Strahd, Curse of Strahd I was running, and a few other ones, and I was running it with my junk gear, because you can run all the way through epic with your Sharn gear like I'm using right now, and most people do. But like once you get to those like end game quests and those end game raids, even Dryad and the Demigod, which is not a particularly hard raid at all, I was getting killed constantly. It was embarrassing, but fortunately I was in it with my guildie, so it was a laugh. Um, but yeah. So anyway, that's my diatribe about all that stuff. And again, if I'm rambling or it seems not, incoherent or I'm not holding a string of thoughts together, bear in mind that, I am under the weather. All right, so we've got all that done. So what's going to happen right now is I am going to go ahead and get my girl here to pop me a quick heal. Faster than if I just did it myself. I do have the Alchemist heal spell, but I made the, oops, my bad, wrong way. I made the decision to run with Stone Skin because I felt that the damage reduction was more valuable than a one-time big heal, which takes me out of reaction. So, and then I'm going to pop Featherfall on myself. What you're trying to do is just run down these things, and the idea is to not stop. You have a little bit of time to turn and look, and you're just looking for the way to fall back down, and then when you get to here, you just jump through the square, and then the floor gives out. Man, I'd love to know why there's no sound. Let me double check over here. Oop, I was looking for. All right, well, not now. Anyway, the black dragon before you snorts. Who are you to disturb my slumber? I am Sulykka. So you are Drow. What is your purpose here, Alchemist? I have come to stop the Black Abbot from ascending and deliver his death once and for all. The dragon's belly shakes as it laughs heartily. I suppose you think I'm just going to lay here and let you pass? You are a spirited one, Sulykka. I like that. If you can beat me, I will let you pass. I will rend your wing from limb. Nothing quite so barbaric, Alchemist. This is a battle of wits. Let us begin then. All right, so what happens here is that she asks you a series of questions, and if you bugger up, I believe, 2 of them, then you get nuked. But fortunately for us, I have memorized all of these. So we're going to do the good guy version. It says, what group would you seek membership in? The Silver Flame. Black Abbot gave you an offer to join his forces. What would you do? Never. He is a scourge in Zendrick and must be stopped. Sinis seeks to destroy all things and taunt him with their heat. What do you think about that? If something has heat, it should be left as it is, and Sinis should deal with his hatred internally. Mentau agreed to help the Black Abbot because the Lich was the only one who could save his daughter from her terminal illness. In trade for saving her, the Abbot demanded Mentau's eternal service. Would you have agreed to that deal? And we said, I would have done anything to save my daughter. Vol desperately wants the Litany of the Dead. If you find it, what would you do with it? Destroy it once and for all. What are your thoughts on Mentau? He and his creations are abominations. If you had been buried with the high priest when the temple was desecrated, what would you have done? Stayed faithful to the lady, knowing she would be my salvation. Cholthuz obeyed the conditions set out by the Black Abbot upon losing his duel for centuries until you exposed a loophole. What would you have done? The same. A contract is binding, and I would have followed the conditions. If the Black Abbot succeeds in his plans to grasp power from the gods, and Sir Rohini orders a full assault, would you go, knowing that you would be fighting an immortal that will surely slaughter you all? I would follow the orders I was given. What do you think about Kai Teng's betrayal? He deserved to die for betraying his faith and oath to Vol. Which of these do you feel the most drawn to? The Crusader. And how do you feel about those who stand with neutrality? They lack honor and compassion. If after you died you could be reincarnated into any color dragon, which would you choose? Gold or silver? What would you do if you were me and a party of adventurers came along seeking access to my master, the Black Abbot? Engage the adventurers in a battle of wits, and if they won, let them pass. Which guardian do you identify with the most? Cholthuz the Doomsphere. You have proven to be a worthy adversary. I believe Cholthuz would like to speak with you. So basically what we did is I gave all the lawful and good answers. And there are 4 different paths. So if you take lawful and good, that takes you to the Doomsphere. If you choose chaotic and good, it will take you to Mentau. If you take lawful and evil, it will take you to the High Priest of Vol. And if you take chaotic and evil, it will take you to the to Sinus the Cinder Spawn. Now this is a workbench, and what happened is right now it says there's nothing of interest on the table because we haven't run any of these quests. So what can also happen is that once you finish this quest, again, because you had to run this 4 times to complete it to actually flag for the raid, what you would do... Oh, hello. Hello there. Hello. Does she watch me when I do it? No, she just hanging out, I guess. So what would happen is you'd have to go and run all 4 of these, and every time you finished one, you would come over to the workbench, and there would be a new bauble on it, which in theory helps you with the next boss. Most of them were a novelty. So if I go down here, this is the path to the Doomsphere. Be a lot of ice, a lot of undead. Even though they changed him in the actual quest, Ghost of Perdition, if you go down here, you will fight him as he was in the original, which is basically a full beholder and undead and incorporeal. It is a miserable fight. And I came in here on Reaper 1, and I just don't want to. So we're just going to run right out of here. So what happens is most people complete this quest. This quest used to get farmed a lot because you can finish it in very quickly for a lot of experience. And so what a lot of people would do is they would finish it on Reaper or Elite, and then they would